a circus if they had said yes. It would have been something else. You know. So we had Chrissy Hind, Kate Marion, Martha, her daughter Martha, sang See How We Play, Damon Albarn, Kevin Ayers, Captain Sensible, and a really interesting mix of people. And one of my collaborators was a guy called Nick Blair-Clues, who's worked with on some writing lyrics and melodies for some Pink Floyd songs. And he and I both know David Gilmour reasonably well. And so we just sort of keep them posted. Like, so-and-so's doing it, this is happening. Just, hey, do you want some tickets, maybe? And so the night of the last rehearsal it was a Wednesday night, the concert was Thursday. Wednesday night, I'm in the rehearsal room at 6 o'clock, I'm just getting ready to leave. Phone rings, it's Roger Waters' manager. Hey, tell me about this concert tomorrow. Roger was thinking maybe he'd come by and sing a song. So I said, oh, okay, great. I said, but he's got to be out of there at 9:15 because he's got to pick his girlfriend up at the airport. So I said, okay, whatever, you can close the first half. So I turned to my co-producers and said, hey, we've got a closer for the first half. We still didn't know who was going to close the show. And the next afternoon, we were doing the sound check and sort of trying out different combinations, ideas for how we're going to finish the show. And then we got the call. The Floyd. Yeah, let's come down and sing Arnold Lane. And so, oh, okay. And so I had the immense privilege of going out at just before the very end of the concert. Nobody knew, the place was completely sold out. Nobody had the slightest idea. And I went out and I thanked everybody. They were all my ex-Pink Floyd lighting man. He'd done great things. And Chrissy Hind had been wonderful. And everybody, who'd helped out. And then I said, now we're going to close with, song I identify with a lot because it's the one I worked with them on, Arnold Lane, and to sing it, Rick, Nick, Dave, and it was like being sort of propelled backwards by an explosive device. Everybody just stood up and roared, and this force field of energy it was the most amazing sensation. And they came out and they sang Arnold Lane. It was extraordinary. Anyway, in the build-up to the concert, I'd listened more closely to Syd's songs than I had for many, many years, because I had to think of who's going to sing this and who's going to sing that. And I was just amazed at how the quality, just thinking back to how different London 67 would have been if it hadn't been for Syd, the quality of his songs, all those weird improvisations that people were doing, they wouldn't have meant anything if they hadn't started from this platform of tremendous originality, musicality, melody, and weight. So I wrote a little essay on Syd for the program, which I'm going to read. Syd Barrett tried to set us free. So many things are impossible to imagine without Syd. The year of our glorious psychedelic revolution began in August of '66 with Pink Floyd playing those London free school benefits in Palace Square. It ended with Syd on stage the following July, hands at his side, motionless, watching the lights play over the UFO audience, listening to the group behind him struggling to fill the void. Syd was beyond caring then. But Syd was always beyond caring in the best possible way. Syd's brilliant unconcern kept everyone around him honest. He didn't care about stardom, didn't care what the record company wanted or the agency or how the press or the fans told him he ought to do it. When Syd joined what was supposed to be a blues band, he gave them a name borrowed from two obscure singers, discovered deep in the liner notes to a Blind Boy Fuller album. No one knows what Pink Anderson or Floyd Council sounded like, but his oblique appropriation of their names provided this Cambridge outfit with a perfect handle. Their first job in London was to provide the soundtrack to a film by a London painter, consisting entirely of abstract shapes. Light played across the screen as they recorded the score. They liked the combination of their music and colored light. The accident of that commission providing one of the key elements of psychedelic London in the summer of love. David Bowie says that Syd changed his life by the way he sang Ronald Lane, just as he talked, not trying to sound black or American or cool, just sounding like himself, singing about the way the lodgers' knickers used to go missing in the Barrett backyard. Syd certainly changed the life of his fellow Floyds. He gave them escape velocity. Long after he was gone, his way with the chord and the melody shaped their music and their triumphs. They sang about him over and over again to the millions of fans who knew the name but never heard the voice. Last summer, after he died, Radio 4 aired a tape of Syd being cross-examined on an ITV arts program. Syd sounded nothing like that damaged person in the spring of 1967. He answers questions like a man born to be a radio pundit, clear and calm, with no mumbled ums and ers. The interview was filmed a few weeks before Syd changed, before he altered himself into the damaged person we now think of. I remember that earlier voice, the calm Syd voice, not upset that an ignorant interviewer doesn't understand the Floyds' music, perfectly at home, explaining the logic of rock and roll volume levels, as if he were talking to a child. You can't really analyze how Syd changed everything just by being Syd, but when I think back to that year in which I knew him, I can feel his ripples. Every one of those early shows was just a bit different afterwards. You could sense it in the streets of Notting Hill Gate. The crowds of the early UFO shows were so happy Syd was there in front of him. So many things were changing by the week, but Syd seemed untouched, the still center around which the hurricane blew. His unconcern was the key. The way he saw it was so casually offered. Which isn't to say he didn't yearn. He yearned for love and was unashamed about it. Everyone yearns. He just stated it as a simple, obvious fact. You're the kind of girl that fits in with my world. I'll give you anything, everything, if you want things. If you want things. Syd had nothing against people wanting things. He just didn't seem too bothered about them himself. In 1967, we thought we were at the beginning of something really big. We didn't realize we were nearing the end. Everything we created in those years of optimistic freedom wound up on a corporate website. I think Syd saw it coming, like the small animal that runs out of the forest 2 days before the earthquake. Tonight, with our eyes wide open, we are commodifying Syd's songs. We can't help ourselves. It's the only way we know how to reassure ourselves we really loved him. If we're very lucky, there may come a moment tonight when the performer and audience stop caring whether anyone likes it or remembers it or knows we were hip enough to be here. Maybe for an instant we'll just be there, as if no one had ever done a tribute concert before. Syd won't know or care, but perhaps we'll walk just a tiny bit differently as we leave.